Hello guys, gals, and pals. Welcome to your warm-up. Today, all we're going to need is a chair, preferably one that you can move around easily with no arms, but we will adapt and overcome if you don't have that. And some type of heavy band, or a belt if you don't have a band, that's fine. So band is gonna sit to the side for now. We don't need that, but we're just gonna start sitting in our chair with our sits bones kind of at the edge of the seat, sitting up nice and tall, feet on the ground. And we're going to start with what's called a cat-cow. We're going to go ahead and inhale, lift your chest up toward the ceiling, and then as you exhale, you're going to round down, slumping and taking your chin to your chest. Good. And inhale opens you up, and exhale rounds you down. If you're feeling not super comfy today, you can keep this kind of small. So keeping this kind of more at your ribs. And just taking your time and kind of moving wherever feels like you need to be today. And let's do a few more. Last one. Good. And then we're going to go ahead and inhale, lift your arms up, grab one wrist. You're going to pull gently up and over to the side a little bit. If this is feeling pretty intense or getting your arms overhead is really hard, go ahead and take your hand kind of in front of your face instead of up above you. That is totally reasonable. Go ahead and come back to center and then switch to the other side. Your arms either going to be overhead or in front of your face, depending on what's the most comfortable for you. And then we're going to go ahead and come back to center and let that go. Next, we're going to come into a seated pigeon. So what we're going to do here is you're going to go ahead and straighten one leg. Then you're going to take the other leg and you're going to go ahead and hook your ankle over your shin. This is where we're going to start, and we're going to work up from here. So if at any point you realize that you've kind of reached a good stopping point where you're getting a good deep stretch on the hip of that bent leg, that's going to be where you're going to stop, even if I keep going, because we're not trying to do the most crazy variation today. We're just trying to get a nice stretch in our hip. So from here, if this is good, you can inhale, sit up tall, and then lean forward. If that's enough stretch on the hip, awesome. If you want a little bit more, you're going to take this ankle to above your knee. And then same thing, looking for a stretch in the hip of this bent leg. If that's enough, you'll stay here. If you want a little bit more, you can take the leg that's straight and go ahead and bend it so it's underneath you. So your foot is right underneath your knee. Then this might be good. If your knee hurts, pull your toes toward your kneecap, flex your foot, and sit up tall. Take a deep breath. You might feel some stretching in the back of your butt, maybe in your side, maybe in your low back, maybe in your inner thigh. I don't know. We're going to find out. If here is good, stay here. If you want a little bit more, you can inhale, sit up tall, press down a little bit on your knee as you lean forward. And then just hang out here for a little bit. If this is feeling pretty intense, you can rock back and forth out of this. So you're taking a more intense stretch and a less intense stretch. That can be a really nice way to increase your flexibility without undue suffering. Good. When you're ready, let's go ahead and release. And we're going to go to the other side. So straightening that other leg that we just stretched, you're going to take your foot, hook it onto your shin, and then scooch it up to just underneath your knee. See if this is giving the stretch that you need. You might notice that one side's a little different than the other. That's fine if so. If you want more, take that ankle over your knee. If that's enough, stay there. If you want more, you're going to go ahead and bend the leg that you're using to support your stretch. And then this might be good, or you might take that little lean forward and press down, pulling your toes toward your knee. You don't win a prize if you're doing the most stretch, so take yourself wherever feels good for your body today, and don't sweat it. If you want to rock in and out of this stretch, feel free. And if you can hear my chair creaking, I'm sorry. It's Very noisy, apparently. Very nice. And then when you've had enough of this, we're going to go ahead and release that, and we're going to stand up out of our chair. So where the moving comes in handy, we're going to take this chair and we're going to spin it around so that we can hold on to the back of it and use it for balance. If you need to change locations or something, though, you can feel free to do that. So we're going to grab our band next, and because we're going to be using this band to help us to stretch out our quad. So our quad just means the front of our thigh. So you're going to go ahead and take your band or your belt. You're going to go ahead and grab it end to end like this, and then you're going to go ahead and swing it around. So you're going to put it on either side of your ankle and give yourself a little tail. Then you're going to grab it in the back, same leg, same hand. So you're going to hold on to this belt, and then you're going to stand up and use this guy to pull your heel toward your hip. Now here, it's important that you're not trying to yank as hard as you can. And then if you're noticing that you're having to pull your arm up really, really high and you're still not getting a good stretch, go ahead and go back down, grab this closer to your ankle, and then try again. Then if you realize that you grabbed it way too close and this is way too intense, you can let this out so you have a little bit more reach. Just kind of figure out where you need to be, play with it, and then holding onto your chair for balance. I'll sometimes think about pushing my hip forward as I pull my knee back, and then you'll get a really nice stretch in the front of your leg. Very nice. Go ahead and release that. Little shake it out, and then you can face the other way, but I'm just going to change where my chair is. Same thing, grab the band. It's going to go on either side of your ankle. Grab onto your chair, lift your foot using that band. Adjusting if you need to. Maybe this side is a little roomier, so you need to be a little close to your foot. Maybe it's a little tighter, you need to be farther away. Just kind of see what's good. Think about push that hip forward as you pull that knee back. And if that's way intense, don't worry about it. And if your balance is feeling a little wobbly, that's okay. That's why we're holding onto the chair. If you were on a stool or something like that, you can always hold on to a wall or a dresser or a table or whatever works. Go ahead and release that. All right. Keep your band handy. We won't need it just yet, but we'll need it at some point. We're going to go ahead and stretch into our back right now. So staying on the back of the chair, you're going to take your hands and you're just going to set them on the back of the chair. And then you're going to walk your feet back, dropping your face in between your arms, coming into this sort of slightly forward position. Now, for my people that have kind of some postural stuff like POTS, I want you to actually come forward and put your elbows on the chair, push your shoulders away from your ears, and then drop down. So your head's not going to go down like this, but it's going to stay up. And then all you're going to do is keep those shoulders pushing down as you sink. Think about sinking your hips back, sinking into your back. Your knees can stay as soft as you need to be. If you want a different variation and you don't have to worry about POTS, you can walk your hands back so your arms are straight and drop your chest through your shoulders and sink down a little bit more. You can shift a little bit from side to side, take some deep breaths, maybe come out of the stretch and go back into it. Whether you're doing the straight arm version or the bent arm version, neither is better than the other. It's just stretching different things. This position with the long arms that I'm doing right now helps you to shift and move around a little bit more. But this elbow position actually lets you stretch a little deeper into your back. So both are really great. So if you're only doing one, don't feel like you're missing out on the other. Good. Let's go ahead and roll up. Take your time. If you need to grab onto the chair and let the blood return to your head, feel free. And then next, we're going to go ahead and do a calf stretch. I remembered. And this might be a little more calf, might be a little more hamstring. Either's fine. So what you're going to do, you're going to take one foot, you're going to stamp it out in front of you. Your chair is going to be within grabbing distance in case you need it for balance. And then you're just going to sink your weight back into this back leg. So you're kind of sitting back like this. You're pulling your toes toward your knee, not really intensely. You can also kind of stand up and sink down into this one if that feels okay, because this one can be pretty intense and you don't have to yank on anything like crazy here. Go ahead and come on up, and then we'll switch. One heel stamps out, other leg supporting you. Sit your hips back. Take a deep breath, contemplate your life, contemplate stretching and calves and such. And then we're gonna go ahead and come on out of that. Very nice. Wiggles if you need some wiggles. And then we're gonna go ahead and grab our band again. And we're gonna, or if you have a belt too, that's also fine. But if you do have a belt, because it's not stretchy, just make sure you're grabbing it nice and wide on the ends. So now we're actually gonna do a chest stretch here. So grabbing your band with your hands really wide, we're gonna go ahead and lift your arms up, keeping your shoulders down away from your ears, lifting your arms up until you find a stretch here. If you're noticing that your elbows really need to bend to get to that position, that's fine. Bend your elbows a little bit. Think about lifting your chest up as you reach your hands back. I am pretty flexible, so I can go back pretty far, but you might find that you get to here, like where the band's in front of your face, and that might be enough for you, and that's totally fine. Just take yourself wherever feels good, hang out there, then release out of that stretch, and then find that stretch again. So we're gonna, same thing that we've been doing, kind of moving in and out of where it's really intense. Because this not only helps us to figure out what our tolerance is for stretching, but it also helps our bodies get more flexible, because moving in and out of things can actually help your flexibility a little bit more than just grabbing a stretch and yanking on it as hard as you can. Good, last one here. And then we'll let that go. Wiggles, wiggles. Set this guy to the side. All right. That concludes our stretching portion. And now we're gonna get into some position practice. So what we're gonna do here to start with is you're gonna have your hands out in front of you with your hands flat, palms facing down toward the ground. So you'll notice here that your thumbs are facing each other. And if you take your shoulders down away from your ears, this is a pretty standard position. Now I want you to think about rotating from your shoulder, because we can actually rotate our hand without moving our shoulder at all. So what I want to do is from your shoulder, roll your arm out until your thumbs are facing away from each other. So one more time, facing forward. Instead of from the hand, think about rolling from your shoulder until your thumbs face each other, pointing towards each other, and then roll out and roll in and roll out. It's really important that we do this from the shoulder, and you'll see why in a second. So now we're actually going to roll in and exaggerate this more. So we're really going to roll, roll, roll from our shoulder until our thumbs are pointing down toward the ground. Now I'm using our thumbs as a cue because your hands are going to follow your shoulders, but I don't want you to just like crank really hard on your wrist and your hand so that your thumb faces down, but your shoulder's doing whatever the heck it wants. So just live here for a second. Think about rolling the shoulder, rolling the shoulder. You might notice that when you roll your shoulders out, your shoulders actually drop away from your ears. And when you roll your shoulders in, they actually lift up. This is important, and you'll see why in a second. So release out of that, wiggles. I don't know about you, but I was holding my arms up for a while. All right, so now we're gonna try this again. And we're gonna try a rowing thing here. And when I do this, I don't want you to force anything. If anything feels like it hurts, I want you to stop. But that being said, we're gonna try a positional thing. We'll see how it goes. So you're gonna go ahead and we're gonna have those hands facing back up, palms down. We're gonna roll out, so our thumbs are facing away from each other. Then we're gonna roll in until our thumbs are pointing toward the ground because we've rolled our shoulders in as much as we can. Now, I want you to bend your elbows gently, carefully, keeping your elbows as tight to your sides as you can while keeping that roll going in. And if you notice, this feels just god awful. You can't go that far. It feels like you're fighting for your life. You may have tried it a little bit and been like, girl, no, what are you trying to have me do? You're about to find out. So what we're going to do, release your arms out straight. Roll your hands until your thumbs are facing all the way away. We're rolling our shoulders all the way out. Now we're going to do the same thing. Elbows come down bend and come down along your sides. And you notice that this feels really easy, right? When we roll in and we row, this puts us in an absolutely terrible position that hurts our shoulders. When we roll our shoulders out, this puts us in a great position to use our shoulders. This is key because our shoulders are super duper crazy mobile, which means that really often when we're not thinking about it, our shoulders will go wherever the hell they want, whether or not it's actually helpful for us. So what we want to try and do is practice finding these positions so that when you're trying to exercise and you want everything to, not hurt theoretically, it'll actually work. So what we're going to do is we're going to practice that a few more times. Hands are going to come out. You're going to roll your shoulders out. And now you're going to think about drawing your elbows back along your sides. And when you get here, I want you to squeeze your shoulder blades together a little. And then I want you to release and extend your arms. This time we can leave our palms facing up. Squeezing our shoulders back and reaching and squeezing. Now from here, we're going to go into a little bit more of a shoulder blade squeeze. So I want you to think about squeezing your elbows like they're trying to squeeze behind you. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And using the muscles of the middle of your back to pull your shoulder blades together and your elbows down. I want you to keep your shoulders down away from your ears. And I want you to keep your jaw relaxed, which is hard to do when we're focusing really hard. We're like, oh my God, I got to do this right. But it's okay. Deep breath. It's fine. Worst thing that happens is it's a little confusing and you don't do it perfectly and then you keep practicing. It's not a big deal. So we're going to do like 3 more of these and 2 and 1, and then go ahead and shake it out. All right. If that was a bunch of weird magic for you and you were like, what the heck is this? Welcome to the club. Welcome to trying to figure out how to get your shoulders in the right place. So just come back and practice this again. Practice this again. It will get easier, and being able to find this position where you can roll your shoulders down and comfortably bring your elbows back is so, so important, especially because a lot of people that I work with in general, so this isn't everybody in the universe, but a lot of people that I see, when they're going through their everyday life, they tend to roll their shoulders forward and slump and slouch. And so you get that kind of, position that's not necessarily amazing for your shoulders to not hurt. And so learning to pull everything out and back and really use your muscles differently is super, super helpful. It does take some practice though. So don't fret if it wasn't perfect. You just get to come back and practice it again because that's what we do here. I will talk to you soon. I hope this went well and have a good day.